that's live. Okay, that's live. Okay. I think we're here. I hope you all got food. I hope we eventually found more paper plates. This is we're having problems of too many people at the moment, which is not a problem. It's just logistics, and it's wonderful.
Did everybody get a chance to vote? Last call.
Oh, no, I didn't. Thank you. Too busy catching up.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for your help setting up this room for our meeting. There's plenty of food, so thank you, Colleen, for making food arrangements. Please help yourself. There's plenty of food, so please help yourself to seconds. Get up at any time during the meeting. On behalf of the vestry and Matt, I want to thank everybody for being here. For those who don't know me, I'm Erickson, Senior Warden. Joanne, our Junior Warden, is right over there enjoying this delicious meal. This congregation is 190 years old. They first gathered in 1836 down the street from here. This building was built in 1869, but the congregation goes back to 1836, 190 years. So us gathering here, worshiping here, we're part of a legacy that's 190 years old. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your serving Trinity, supporting Trinity, and everything that you do to keep this congregation going. Next, we have a full agenda, but we'll move through it as fast as we can because we know your time is valuable here. All our time is valuable. Weekends are a precious time. So next, I would like Matt to lead us in a prayer. Thank you, Matt.
This is a prayer that we don't pray often here at Trinity Church, but we do every year on the first Sunday in February. So it sounds familiar because you've been to an annual meeting before. It's because you've been to an annual meeting before. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. O God of unchangeable power and eternal light, look favorably upon your whole church, that wonderful and sacred mystery. By the effectual working of your providence, carry out in tranquility the plan of salvation. Let the whole world see and know that things which were cast down are being raised up, and things which had grown old are being made new, and that all things are being brought to their perfection by the one through whom all things were made, your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Matt. Next, we have Bing, our treasurer, with a finance update. Oh, and there's one handout per table. We apologize. We wanted to have handouts for everybody, but the printer ran out of toner, right? So it's one handout per table. We'll make this handout available to anyone who wants it at a later time, but for now, we'll start sharing. Oh, I'm sorry. I have an outdated agenda. Here is Don with an update on the fall stewardship campaign.
Well, a big thank you to the parish. It's been a very successful campaign. Let me just give you a couple numbers. You remember there was a challenge of a $20,000 challenge if members increased pledges from last year or were new pledges this year, hadn't pledged before or last year. And we met that and actually exceeded it because we had 18 folks who increased their pledges for a total of 20,200. And we had 25 brand new pledges, people who hadn't pledged before, including me, for a total of 62,000, a little over 62,000. So big goal. So the total pledges to date are 55, and for a total of $177,700. So very successful. And I'd like to thank not only those who pledged, but the committee, Clint Brown, Christian E., Christian D., Susie Green, Matt, and a very special thanks to our superb coach, Bruce McKay, who helped us with all the details. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Don. And now, here is our treasurer, a man who needs no introduction, Bing Sherrill.
I recognize that most people are not as interested in numbers as I am, and there's few for you to see. Those of you who can see it, you have in there the results from 2024, the proposed for 2025, the actual for 2025, which were surprisingly close, and then the proposed for 2026. Without doing the numbers, I would point out, a couple of things. Our offerings normally run about $300,000 to $330,000 a year, and have for a number of years. The last time it jumped up, it was when we had the matching program about 3 years ago, and it was a significant jump. So I've assumed that we're going to have a significant jump this year. So our offerings from 2025 are $332,000, and I'm making a judgment that we'll get to $365,000. On here, you would see that our total offerings for 2025 were actually like 580,000, way, way, way above. But that's including the Shirley Hutter's gift and including about 50-some thousand for Windows, which are wonderful gifts, but the Windows gift is reserved for the Windows. But I think we'll be able to make it with that amount. I assume that next year we'll raise a special 30,000 for the Windows again, which would be good. Most of the rest of the numbers stay the same. The issues are in revenue. It's mainly what the offerings are going to come in at. And then on the expense side, the maintenance is always the tough one to anticipate. Last year we had several special expenditures, leaky pipes for about $10,000. I think the rats cost us almost $10,000 after we did all the work for them. You remember, for people that asked me, the building on Elmwood was torn down and the rats went east. After they'd gone through the Buffalo Club, they ended up here. So. We'll give them back? Yeah. So I assume that we will skip about $40,000 of expenditures that we had last year, but I would replace it, as you know if you've tried to use them, the bathrooms here badly, badly need refurbishment, and also the ones in the basement under the church. The second floor is not as bad, but it needs work too. And I gave it a underestimate of $15,000 to do that. We also have roofing work to do on the connector. The water is seeping through the furnace room up there. We have 3 furnaces, so I'll come back to that. Seeping through that, and if you go in the sacristy or the changing room, you can see that the ceiling is badly damaged. So we'll need $10,000 or $15,000 of roof changes and $3,000 or $4,000 of ceiling refurbishment. The part that I'm worried about is the furnaces. We have 3 furnaces. The huge one for that building, there's one for Trinity Center, which is in the front. That was installed in 1962. So you can imagine that's a long time on a boiler, but I think we'll be able to get through that. So if you add up all the expenses and the revenues, we came out with, surprisingly, $109,000 loss on operations projected for next year. And a projection, just so happens that this year off our investments, we earned $109,000. So I thought we ought to be able to do as well, so it would be a wash. So that's what we're planning for next year. Question?
What about heat? Heat looks like it might be higher this year than projected. Heat, gasoline, fuel and stuff.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe we should move into this room. Actually, that was brought up to me several times before coming up here. So, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bing. Next, we'll have the annual reflection from our rector, Matt.
Not yet.
Isn't this your last annual meeting? Oh, thank you. Ever.
Thank you, Judy. I am not dancing a jig because it's my last annual meeting ever. I'll say that. It has been a wonderful, well, so I've said this before, but it's still true that coming to Trinity was the sort of dream come true for me as a priest in the Episcopal Church. And that assessment was true the day I got here, and it has never wavered. Still true. I just am so grateful to be here and to be with you. And so let me start with some thank yous to our staff, Colleen, and to Rich Empalezo, the building manager, to Krista and Paul, our music staff, to caretakers Jay Empalezo and Willow D'Agostino, who they're always here. And when they're not here, there turns out to be other acrobats who can come hang out here instead. So we always have acrobats on the premises, which are the best kind of caretakers. So they're wonderful. Let me also say a thank you out loud, even though Deacon Jeff Took can't hear it. He's now sort of a member of the staff because he's a deacon. He was a member of the congregation until that happened, and now as he is preparing to become a priest, he's doing an internship at St. Martin's on Grand Island, where they do things a lot differently than we do, so he's learning that the Episcopal Church is a little broader than Trinity alone, which is a good thing. But we miss him today. Anyway, also, I want to say thanks to a couple of social media content creators in residence, Tim Lane and Amelia Earnhardt, who have been doing great things lately and will keep doing that. Also to cyber sacristans, 2 of the 3 are here today, Barbara and Meg. We're so grateful to you for what you're doing today and every day. It was a little weird to have church without being greeted by name by Christian Eshelman, but he's not available today, so we'll just have to say good morning. Thank you, Meg. Yes, good morning, Meg. Good morning, Christian, and all the Christians. Yeah. And huge thanks to the whole choir and everybody who's a greeter, to everybody who reads readings or leads prayers, to communion ministers, to all who come early and stay late to set up and clean up, to Teresa Machoka, who's here, and Sally Cook, who make Trinity at 7 and the 12-step service on Thursdays happen, along with help from others. And also to 3, let me see if I got this right, 3 very active committees right now. The Saving Trinity Committee, the Stewardship Committee you just heard from, and also the Search Committee. The 2 you haven't heard from, you will before we're done. All of these folks are so busy this year, and the wardens, Erickson and Joanne, are doing amazing work helping ride herd over that. And to everybody on the vestry, everybody who's been serving, those who are finishing their service as of this meeting, and those who are coming on. So thanks to, and then you know what? I did it as much by category as possible, because I knew if I tried to do it by individual, I'd screw up badly. So I just screwed up by category. This, that's better. It's a little less, feels a little less like a personal forgetting or something like that. Yes.
Can I just extend a thank you on behalf of everyone? I'll speak for all of you. You didn't ask me to, but I will. And extend a thank you to Catherine.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm good with that. For me, this year, as you work towards calling your next rector, I am very encouraged by the way many of you are taking on leadership responsibilities. There are several of you prepared to share news and information at today's meeting, so it would be good not to give a long speech. So I've written my report for the year. It's really just a list of statistics and events that characterize the life of the community over the last year. It's in the book that some of you can get your hands on. It will be posted and sent out with the e-news this week so that everybody will be able to read it over. My report's not that interesting, but it's got other things in there as well. Anyway, I want you to see these numbers because they reflect a vibrant and vital church. It's also true that that the numbers that you'll see reflect something that the vestry and I recognized earlier this year, which is that it's a more accurate description to say that Trinity is a community of organizations rather than a parish church that rents space to some other organizations. And it's really meaningful to the people here in the building to be that community of organizations. One of the people who will speak in a few minutes, so I don't have to, is Cindy Stroud, who is on the staff at Clean Air Coalition, and she's also on our vestry. This is what I mean by community of organizations. And Vicki Kearns, who's coming onto the vestry, is also part of the leadership of the Jung Center, one of the other organizations. So we're trying to really grow into the idea of being a community of organizations. And there's some growing to do, but I have every reason to believe that we can and that we're moving in that direction. I also want to mention, not in my report printed, that we finished this year with a strong fundraising event for the Windows Restoration Project. And most of the donors to that fundraising effort were from outside Trinity. There were some Trinity members who were invited to the same fundraising event to help get everybody to know what they were being asked to be part of, and those wonderful Trinity people ended up donating along with, and you'll get an opportunity to make another donation to the Windows effort in the coming weeks. But I want to say that the Center of Glass and Light really put a particular effort into finding people outside of the Trinity community who care about what Trinity means to Buffalo, in no small part because of its windows, and who would find it compelling to be able to help care for those windows. Regarding the actual work to be done, we don't yet have a timetable for it, but the plans and contracts are now being prepared. So in other words, the work has begun, the paper part of the work has begun, and I think it is realistic to think that we will be doing physical work on the famous window, the ceiling of the Servants of God, before the end of the year. Before I end my remarks, I want to share one story that doesn't fit into a bullet point on the list. And furthermore, the conclusion of the story actually happened 2 days ago on Friday, not in 2025. So strictly speaking, I'm cheating and reporting on something from next year, not the year that we're reporting on. I want to mention Justice for Migrant Families as an organization that Trinity gave a nest when it was just hatching as a new organization in the fall of 2016. I am happy to say that they have been, for quite some time now, their own 501c3 organization, but they're still on our campus, and they have board members and other volunteers from the Trinity congregation, which is also true of other organizations. So they're an illustration rather than the only one. As you may know, Justice for Migrant Families provide direct services to immigrants who are navigating the legal immigration system. JFMF provides court support as well as food and clothing and many, many, many other resources to help people coping with very difficult circumstances. On Thursday of this past week, I went to a wonderful talk at Jericho Road. They were giving an update to faith leaders on what they are doing, but not just what they're doing, but why they're doing it. And they witnessed to the faith that drives them, the people who work at Jericho Road, and said, "You are our amplifiers. you witness to the same faith. Tell the world why we're doing what we're doing. It's because we're trying to follow Jesus. And it wasn't to be evangelistic. It was to say we're not just doing this because we're woke. We're doing this because from the bottom of our hearts we know it's the right thing to do. They were basically saying we're doing our best to do justice, to love kindness, to walk together and with God. And I met one of their board members, who's also one of Justice for Migrant Families' volunteers. I didn't ask him if I could tell his story, so I won't tell you who he is. I won't tell you much about him, except that he recently retired from a senior management position in a major institution in Buffalo. And I learned on Thursday that he loves to come to Trinity to help with Justice for Migrant Families. He was at Jericho Road, talking about Jericho Road, and he mentioned JFMF and how delighted he was to spend 2 hours one day sitting holding somebody's baby and entertaining the baby so that the baby's mom could pay attention to her court appearance, which was online, and they were all sitting here in the Banta kitchen just around the corner. Then on Friday, I was delighted to join a group of friends and colleagues of Jennifer Connor, who is the executive director of JFMF, in giving her a surprise party at which the Partnership for the Public Good honored her with their annual Enduring Advocate Award. Jennifer has been doing this work for 30 years, and she shared that the most significant part of being given an award was that it was this award, because she said when she was 18 years old, she said, I don't want to just get in there and make a splash and move on and to a grown-up job. I want to do this for the rest of my life. It is a grown-up job. And she has been, and then the people who were recognizing her described how much of a force she is in the world, not only of caring for immigrants who are struggling, but organizing the rest of society around making America a more hospitable place for them. Really important, significant work done faithfully and deeply. So the Enduring Advocate Award. It got me thinking, Trinity has endured here at the center of the city for, I guess, 190 years, right? Inviting people to bring their vision of a better world to life. We started doing so before the building of the big church was completed in the late 1800s, when we built a social service agency, Trinity House, instead of completing the tower on the corner of Trinity Church. The building is still not finished, but then our life here at the center of the Buffalo community is not finished either. But my talk should be. I promise this is not an encore. I just want to say thank you, and I don't want to get clapped for every time we get together between now and a year from now. That's fine. That's good. I'm good with that. I just want there to be lots more times when we get together between now and a year from now, because it means the world to me to be with you.
Thank you, Matt, for your remarks and your leadership. Next, we'll hear an update on the potential sale of the Franklin Street parking lot from Mr. Mark Delavolvi.
Good afternoon. As you all know, we've been, for the last couple of years, trying to figure out what would be a good repurpose of some of the real estate on the Trinity campus. We looked at a bunch of different options over the last 2 years, but the one that really stood out as the best opportunity was an affordable housing type development for the parking lot. And we had a consultant that we were about to start to engage, and Matt, in networking with that group, had a client who was looking for a lot to build a project. And so it was kind of a marriage made in heaven, if you will. We contacted them. We've met with them, our committee, as well as some of the vestry members. They are a very well-organized group. Their mission is very much similar to ours, will work nicely. And they're well-connected in terms of local and state government, which is important in their effort to get a grant approved and such. We're not at liberty to talk about who it is at this point in time, only because they require a certain amount of confidentiality from us. They're organizing a public relations campaign that is going to hit the streets pretty soon, but they don't want any announcements, any premature announcements made. The price right now is $1.2 million. If you may recall, we had an appraisal done 2 years ago, which was $1 million at that point, so it's 2 years old. The property would be the parking lot plus a section behind 393 Delaware, and I think too, potential of leasing some of the green space between 393 Delaware and the church. It is deed restricted. The deal would be deed restricted in that it has to be a religious or charitable development. For the deed restriction lasts 10 years. I think they're going to help us with the parking, our parking issue and their site development plan. They will be providing some parking spaces for us. And we tentatively have the support of our neighbor at 370 Franklin Street as well. So there is an actual LOI, a letter of intent, and we're probably going to be seriously talking again in the next couple of weeks. And actually, all this has come to fruition in just the last 48 hours. So it's all good news, and we would close probably July or mid 2027, which is when we would be receiving the funds, closing on the property. So that's it. Any questions? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. What happens to the money? We give it to Bing. We give it to Bing, and he can do with it as he pleases. Right. Yeah. Right. The vestry would decide, sure. And there wouldn't be any additional revenues beyond that. It's just the sale of the property, and then we're done, and we move on, right. I think, too, a couple of the other things that we intend to negotiate in is the potential of repurchasing the property if for any reason, and there isn't any really that we can see that this project would have a problem. But again, as I mentioned, they're a very well-organized group with a lot of good connections, and it's a very desirable need, so they should be able to pull this off. But if not, we would have the option to buy back, and we're hoping to keep very close contact with them as far as neighborly, just to have our hand in what's going on day in and day out with their operation. Yes, Teresa?
Once the sale is completed, is that the end of Trinity's relationship with whatever is going to be built?
Well, Yeah, so, legally, I guess you would say that. But again, we've talked about possibly having a seat on their board. Again, close, it's very similar to our other tenants. And again, their mission is very aligned with Trinity, so it's a natural fit.
And you said we have right of first refusal, but then after 10 years, it's finished.
The deed restriction for it to be either religious or charitable development is for 10 years. The buyback is not, we haven't done that yet. That will come in time, if for whatever reason they were to close the doors, but not likely. Not likely. Yes? I would say that from a demographic standpoint, that's possible. It's not specifically specialized in that. But I would think that there's some of that, yes. Yes?
There's actually a building code requirement that if you build more than two units, you can get to a third unit. That third unit has to be handing accessible.
Yes. From an accessibility standpoint, you're exactly right, Carol. Yes.
If there are 15 units, 5 of them have to be.
Right. That is exactly correct, yes. And there will be more than that. Not more than 15, but more than 2.
Well, as I remember, they had on-site care in their program.
I'm sorry?
On-site care, so it's not just apartments.
Yeah, not necessarily. I don't believe medical care, no.
I meant like programs and involved with that organization.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and they had a couple of projects that got close to the altar, if you will, and not get consummated, so that's their concern. Right. Right, little altar talk there. Anything else? Good. Thank you, Mark, for your update and for your leadership, really, this last few years in getting us to this point with the parking lot and other, in the future use of other buildings. Next, we'll hear from Cindy Straub. She works for the Clean Air Coalition, who is one of our tenants here. As you all know, the Trinity community is beyond this congregation, right? It's the tenants. So today, we're fortunate to hear from basically one of those tenants. Here is Cindy.
Thank you so very much. I thought I had got out of this. And Father Matt came and said, "You're going to speak today, aren't you?" And I said, "If you say I am, I am." So I'm here to tell you what it's like to work here. Can I please tell, is everybody familiar with Clean Air? Okay, because if you're not, I have a card in my pocket that entitles you to a free cup of coffee and tea and a 1-hour conversation with me. If you would like to know more about Clean Air, just hold your hand up, I'll give you a card. Okay, but I'm here to talk about what it's like to work at Trinity. I need you to understand, I retired in 2019, okay? Something happened in 2023, and I felt like Cinderella. Somebody handed me an application and said, "Send them your resume." And I told my girlfriend, "You're just jealous because I'm retired and I don't want to work." I looked at it. They wanted somebody to go out into the community and talk to my community. I can talk. I like to talk. Then I seen how much they were paying, and I sent them my resume. And they called me up, and I had an interview, and I was sure I blew it. They called me a second time, gave me a second interview. I was sure I blew that one too. I went out of town and got a call, and they said, we want you to be our new environmental justice organizer. Can I please, sir? That's a big title, right? I knew what environmental was. I know what justice is. Organizing? Me? Okay, let's try it. When I came in here, when I first started digging in, finding out my area, campaign area, and what it entailed, and I started listening to all the stories, the despair, and all the stories about cancer, and what was in the air, and what's in the ground, and what lead does. And then I said, Lord, you put me in this position. Why? But I found myself coming out that door, coming around that corner, coming in here. I pray in here so many days. It is beautiful to be able to come in here, I know where the light's at. I know where the heat at. I come in here on my lunch break and talk to God. It is beautiful to be, I've never been able to work at a church. I go to church, been in church all my life. But to be able to work somewhere that you can walk out that door and come here and pray, I feel like I'm at the foot of God. I feel like I am his favorite child. So if anybody needs anything, come see me, because I can talk to him, okay? So that's why I love being at Trinity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. And I forgot to mention that Cindy is a member of the vestry. So thank you, Cindy, for serving in the vestry also. Next, with the 2025 Volunteer of the Year, here is Matt.
Because of everything you heard Mark Delabovi tell you about just a few minutes ago, this is the year to recognize him as Volunteer of the Year. I want to recognize him for his perseverance, his wisdom, and particularly his friendship and support for those he works with on any project. You all are well aware of his involvement with the project that he just reported on and how it has required his involvement for a lot longer than the 6 months that he was promised 2 years ago. Yeah. But he was involved in similar things when I arrived in 2015. And then in 2017, when we had to decide what to do with a building that we could not afford to repair, he saw the sale of that property through to the end. And then a few years later, when some crazy priest thought we should replace the lighting system in the church, Mark made sure that we had the scaffolding and other equipment that Rick Spalding's lighting guys would need to do the job. When parishioners wanted to honor the memory of Jim Barbie by placing a bench in front of the church, Mark was there with a shovel and a bag of concrete to make sure the job was done right. So this Volunteer of the Year award, as with most years, really recognizes someone who has given of himself for many years, not just one. And as I said at the beginning, his friendship and support for those he is with is unwavering, gracious, considerate, and generous. Can't pick a better person.
Congratulations, Mark, and thank you for your leadership these many, many years. Next, we'll get an update on the search committee from Jess.
Hi, everybody. So the search committee, is that better? Everybody hear me now? Okay. So our search committee is currently co-chaired by Missy and myself, and we have 2 subcommittees within our search committee, which is composed of 10 members. We have John and Teresa, Jane, Bing, Megan, Phoebe, Claudia, and Christian, who's not here, but he's also part of our search committee. We've been working on a parish survey that we're hoping everybody will please take the time to fill out. It's 6 questions, so please fill it out. You can do it in person, online. We'll also have in-person sessions, and there's a separate survey for all of our tenants. We're asking everybody to please complete it so we can get our parish profile up. That parish profile will be used to help us dictate who the new rector will be. Oh, Phoebe's on our committee too. I think I missed her. Sorry, Phoebe. I just looked out and saw her. Sorry, Phoebe. So that parish survey is going to be used to compose the parish profile, which is going to be set up towards like a priest LinkedIn type. And that's what we need to get our survey together for. So if anybody has any questions or concerns or ideas past the questions on the survey, you can see Missy, myself, or any other member of the search committee.
Thank you, Jess, Missy, and the rest of the search committee for your hard work and leadership this year to call our new rector. We're nearing the end of our meeting, and as customary, we like to end with thanking the vestry members who are retiring and then welcoming the new members. So today, there's 3 of us who are retiring from vestry: myself, Sue Doherty, and Emily Carlin. Emily had to run, unfortunately. So the 3 of us have served together for the last 3 years. Serving in the vestry, it's really a different way to serve Trinity, right? We get to learn the business side of Trinity. We talk about budgets and the condition of the buildings, and we support Mab in anything that he needs our advice on. It's a serious commitment, and I like to say that for the last 3 years, we've had a really good group where everybody was felt that they could voice their opinion, and everyone did what they could to support the vestry and support the Trinity. So on behalf of the vestry, I'd like to thank Sue, Emily, and myself. Thank you for your service to Trinity. And here, and I forgot to mention, there would have been a 4th person coming off vestry, Chris Cuccia, but as you all know, who passed away over a year ago. And in the vestry, we decided not to fill his term because it was about only a year left when he passed away. So thank you, Chris, and the rest of us coming off vestry. And with 3 people coming off, we have new people coming in to replace us. So here is our incoming senior warden, Joanne Sandell.
Erickson, it's been a pleasure working with you this year. I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to working with our 3 new members, Barbara Hall-Greisman, and Vicki Kearns, and Meg Knowles. And if you would stand, and then all of the current vestry members, if you're here, can you stand up so we can get a good look at you? We have a lot to look forward to this year. And oh, I'm so sorry. How could I forget Tim Lane? Tim Lane, Tim Lane has been involved in Trinity since you were in diapers, no? Almost? Before. And I look forward to working with Tim on our important mission in 2026. And with that, I'd like to adjourn this annual meeting. Got it.